Okay, so this is what happened in the match, and we're going to go over each game. The first 3 games, Stockfish says I played better than perfect. No mistakes, no inaccuracies, no missed wins, no blunders. And it gives you a number, like the caps number, which is irrelevant. And that caps number is 93.4 for me and 89.8 for the opponent. This was the first game, which we're going to look at now. I made 47 best moves, and Komodo made 38. And I made 33 excellent moves, and Komodo made 42. I made 3 good moves. Komodo made 2. This says Komodo made an inaccuracy, and I didn't make any inaccuracies, mistakes, blunders, or missed wins. Smooth, one player took the advantage and never let go. So Magnus was pretty upset at this game because I won in a very smooth way. Yeah. And after I won that game, Karen was, she was pretty excited, and she said something else is going to be smooth tonight. Oh, snap. What is this like? Vidit and Mama Jara? You're all banned. Okay. And Karen's also banned because she's on her phone. All right.
I'm looking at the line.
So I played the French, and he played D3, which I think is an excellent move to try to keep the game where the game... Basically, the engine wants the game to go 100,000 moves. Then I'll lose on time and I'll blunder. So the more pieces we trade, that's not good. So the engine got exactly what it wanted. It got this sort of blocked position. And I had this position against the engine later, and it played G3, but we'll look at that later. Okay, and now we sort of transposed. And I played F5. And here, the engine played knight G5, if I remember. Yeah. And when I played the engine again, it played knight H4, so I assume they modified it between games. Or even during games, because they got other people there probably. So here he played knight G5 attacking this, but I saw it. And I defended. And this knight B6 move, and Karen was telling me this earlier. I had forgotten. Karen's like, don't they play knight B6 in the Karo Khan after knight G5? And I was like, oh yeah, for the same reason. Okay. So in this position, okay, assuming that white has a knight here, isn't the case.
Man, they're loud.
Yeah, okay. Now this position is 100 trillion Grandmaster games with the knight here. And white's threatening, knight takes F7, king takes F7, queen takes E6, Papa John's. And then to continue would be king here, bishop check, king here, queen H3 mate. So the move that black plays here in every Grandmaster game is knight B6. Because I want the 2 bishops, what else? And I defend my E6 pawn. That's the main reason, is you don't want, don't want to get hurt there. So I play knight B6 for the same reason here, because he's attacking my E pawn, and my knight's blocking my bishop, so I get out the way. Now, I didn't want to play knight B6 because I was intending to play B6, bishop B7, which I did in the other game in this line. So I thought about playing queen E7, but I thought I was blocking my bishop, and, this is slow, and so forth. I just played knight B6. Okay, Stockfish says knight B6 is best. The second best move you'll appreciate, because always retreat. This is what Stockfish says is the second best move. Then I could later play B6, bishop A6, I guess, Spencer style. Okay, he played C3, which is excellent. I want to play D4 and knight D5 and bishop B7. But now if I play D4, C4, he moves the other pawn and blocks it up. Okay, so bishop E7, good move. Put it in H. I took, which isn't the best move, but it is the best move. If you're playing an engine, and the engine's 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 points better than you, and you're up a piece, that's the best move. Okay, but an engine wouldn't play it. The engine wouldn't go here because other moves get a higher number score, which doesn't matter to me.
Is it better because you're just trying to trade us?
Yeah, you want to get rid of this knight because that's annoying. And if you play H6, you get crushed. So the whole game, you're like, okay, what can this knight do? I can't be thinking about that. The other reason is I wanted to castle queenside. So I want to move my queen and my bishop. So I was like, okay, this gives my queen the e7 square. Bishop d7, castles, I'm up a piece. Also, I put all his pawns on dark squares, and his bishop here doesn't look so good. It's not, he's not attacking me. I think one of the things you need to do when you're playing the engine is get rid of its knights. Because I know where the bishop is going. I can see where the bishops go. I'm not worried about that. The knights, however, are trickier because when they move, they can go to 8 different squares. So if it's calculation, I might make a mistake against a knight, but against the bishop, I won't. Then it's a blocked position. The engine wants a blocked position, which is a weird thing to say, because it wants the game to go 90 moves. So that way I make 20 blunders out of 90 moves. If the game is open and we trade everything and we get to an ending, I just win. So by making the game never end, which is what Kasparov did against Karpov in the match where Kasparov needed to win game 24 to tie the match, if you remember that, which you don't. They played 5 matches. So he played like a ready, and Karpov wasn't ready. Right, sweetie? Okay. All right, so he played b3, and I changed my mind here. I was going to play bishop d7 and castle, and I was like, I don't want my bishop here, and I started crying. I was like, I want to play b6, bishop b7. So I was like, all right. And then I did what I said I would do. Okay. He checked me. If I play g6, he takes it. So, because the pin. Right, sweetie? Mm-hmm. Right. So I play king d8, because king d8, king c7 is equivalent to queenside castling. Center's close. I don't care that my king is here. All right. So I'm still up 5-4, whatever, 3-2-1. The only way I won't win this game is not going to be because I blunder, because you can't blunder here. The way I'm not going to win is I can't win. It's too blocked. And that was the problem I had in every game was if it's open and there's tactics, I'm going to lose. If it's blocked, I won't lose, but how do I win? Because if it's all blocked, I can't win. But I'm up a piece, so at least I won't lose. All right, king f2, just these, and I played d4 because I wanted the b4 square. He has to play c4. Otherwise, I get like every square from my piece. Especially d5. I want my knight to go to d5. But he played here, so I can't go anywhere. All right, and I get b4 for my knight. So I played here first in case I sack a piece. And my king is tucked away. I can open up the f file. And if I do play king b8 and tuck away, obviously my rook can't be on a8. He played king e2 because, get off of that. And I played a5 because I thought, well, I'll just win on the king side and the queen side's over and this bishop is dead. So I've killed all of his pieces. He can't do anything. And the only way I won't win is if I can't do anything. And I thought, if I can do anything, I still can. That was good English, right? Because my king can hide somewhere here, and then I can sack on e5 or here, and even though I'm sacking a piece, I'll get 2 pawns for the piece, so I'm up 2 pawns, and it's not blocked anymore. So imagine my king's on a7, and I play knight takes, pawn takes, knight takes, move my knight back, e5, the game is over. So if I can't break through over here, I can still sack a piece and break through. And my knight has the b4 square, my bishop has this, and these bishops are shallow and pedantic. Okay, so he didn't like my bishop, but I like trading, obviously. But he didn't like the fact that my bishop was better than his. Okay, so I have 2 knights, and he has a bishop that can't ever do anything ever. But if he wants to trade, that's good because that gives me an opportunity to take this way and get my knight to c5, another good square. Also gets rid of his pieces. So here I sacrificed a pawn because then I get the d4 square and the d file, and he has no pieces left. So if he goes takes, and let's say he takes, my knight has here, and I can triple on the d file. My knight has here, and ridiculous. I was going to play knight b8 to c6, rook d8, and he's completely dead. So he realized that. So he played queen f3. And I put my knight on g4. The reason I played knight g4 was the main way I want to win the game. You play to win the game. You play to win the game. That was Herman Edwards, the Jets coach. Famous speech. Okay. So if I play h6 in many positions and he's already doubled up on the bubble up, I'm sacking a pawn. Now when I play h6, I am not sacking a pawn because my knight's on g4. Now, Karen, what would Lisa Simpson say about that?
I'm not going to know Lisa Simpson.
No, I say it a lot. It's one of my things.
I know.
A blockaded bishop is of little value, but I think you're talking about a pawn. She's talking about.
I'm not ever going to remember The Simpsons.
Well, you have to remember a blockaded bishop. Hey, it's Spencer's exclam Lisa, and that happened.
Oh, that's hey, I didn't delete it.
Yeah, that's
that
fine.
means I did recognize it had some importance,
Yeah.
even though it says of little value.
Right. Okay. Okay, so now, if I ever play h6, it's defended forever. So I got my h6. I'm ready. Okay, he's just making random moves, h6. Now, I expected him to double up on the bubble up. Then I can't take this pawn because my rook's hanging. So then I would play something like queen e8, so I triple up, and then I can take. But he played g6, keeping it closed, and I said thank you for the pawn. Right? So this is the worst position anybody's ever had ever. So just watching this game, you would think computers just can't give a knight to somebody, or I'm the greatest player ever. Probably they're both true. The better you are at chess, the more you hate White's position. You hate it. So if you hate White's position more than anything you've ever seen in your life, then you're getting better at chess. If you're like, I don't know, it's all blocked up, your knights can't do anything, White probably has drawing chances, then, maybe chess isn't your game. What should they do if chess isn't their game? They should have a spelling contest.
Okay.
No. That guy said he'll take White. Yeah, Fortnite.
Checkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a spelling contest. Jules cheat. The engine's trying to win, and what it's doing is it's trying to make problems for me. So if it says 3 moves that are approximately equal, it's going to pick the one it thinks. And by the way, I'm an atheist, but now we can talk about God for about 5 minutes. If an engine is playing 3,500 strength, and it's playing a human, and then the concept of God is playing a human, and God's not cheating, because God could cheat. He could be like, know what I'm thinking, and then, he'd be like, oh, Ben's thinking this because I'm God. No cheating. God can't cheat. But what God knows is he looks all the way to the end in every variation, all the way to the end, and then he's like, yeah, Finegold's pretty stupid, so I think this is the right line. And that's what they want Komodo to do. They want Komodo to look as far as it can and say, yeah, okay, that guy's an idiot, let's go here. And when I analyze the game with an engine like Stockfish, it doesn't do that. Stockfish says, this is the best. And this is the problem computers have, in my opinion, is they're not setting the most problems because when they play each other, that's not a good way to play. Now, if I'm playing a 1500, me, and I'm playing a slow game, and somebody who's sort of a wild and crazy player who's 2200 is playing the same 1500 player, if I said 1500, the 2200 is going to win more quickly because they're going to play wild and crazy. The 1500 is going to furrow his brow in a vain attempt to understand the situation and lose in 15 moves. I play like the engine, not as good as the engine. I play the best move, the best move, the best move, the best move, and then I always win. And the 2200 player wins quicker, but I don't care about that. I don't care if I win in 20 moves or 80 moves. I win. So I win 100 out of 100, and that guy only wins 95 to 5. because in 5 of his crazy nonsense, he loses. The other 95, he wins in 20 minutes, and I win in 3 hours. So I try to play like the computer, and if I play like the computer, I said then nobody will ever beat me. But if I have a losing position against somebody who's like 1700, then I play differently. Then I'm like, all right, this causes him problems. So Komodo is playing the best move and causing me problems. This is they set it to do that. So it's not going to play the number one move all the time. If every move loses, playing something that's minus 4.7 isn't necessarily better than something that's minus 5.2. It could be that one of them's better because I have the tree of winning, the path is c'est pas difficile. I mean, c'est difficile. Oui? Yeah. No, français, c'est difficile pour moi. Right, like Hans Niemann. So Hans Niemann is going to beat 2200s like that, son. But when he plays 2800s and 2700s, and most 26, they're going to beat him like that because he plays wild and crazy, and they're better than him. But if he's better than you, then you get the smackdown. And you'll notice the best players in the world typically are very boring because they want to minimize mistakes. And if you minimize mistakes, you don't lose, but you don't win as much. If you play like Mikhail Tal, you win and lose a lot. Unless you are Tal, then you calculate all the way to the end, and then you're Kasparov. It's a good story.
I think your desktop sounds aren't working.
What's not working?
I haven't been hearing the desktop sounds.
You mean when I make a move?
That, and also when something happens.
All right, let me make a move.
Sure. Okay, I did hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't think I heard trying to learn sub, but maybe.
I thought I heard everything, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he just does this trying to learn. Maybe he just it doesn't make a noise when he does it because he's trying to learn. Yeah. And so forth.
Hey, Boris, how's it going?
The top players in the world who play crazy, like Mamedyarov and Dubov, Jobava, etc., they play a controlled crazy. Now, when you play an uncontrolled crazy, like Jobava, then you go from 27-24 FIDE to 25-75 FIDE, which is what happened. Mm-hmm. God damn. Okay, also kids, say no to drugs. All right, Metashay subscribed, and so forth. Yeah, by the way, I've had this conversation with Karen and Spencer before. Probably Karen doesn't know because she tunes me out. But I don't know who's better or who's who. Or is it who's whom? Rapport and Duda. They're the same person to me. And then when I look on the rating list, they're like always next to each other. That confuses me. And so when Duda won the World Cup, like it was over. But then Rapport started winning tournaments. And Rapport's higher rated than Duda. Then they played in round 1. And Duda won, so now the argument's over. Mm-hmm. The next 2 games, Duda drew, and Rapport won both of his games, including Queen H1 today. God damn! Rapport played the greatest move ever today.
And he was playing...
He was playing Niels Grandelius. Mm. Yeah. Who almost doesn't belong in the tournament. And by almost, I mean he doesn't belong in the tournament. Okay.
How's he doing?
He's in last. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's fighting with Levy for last. And they're different tournaments. Levy lost last night.
Oh, did?
Or this morning. I don't know when they played round 8. Whenever he played round 8. It could have been this. It could have been this morning. Could have been last night. I don't know. So he had 2 out of 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to see a match between Rapport and Duda just so I know who they are. I want to know the difference. I mean, one's Hungarian and one's Polish, but still.
What was Levy's position in his tournament?
Last.
He was last.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, to be fair to Levy, which I don't like to do, he is the lowest rated player. So, lowest rated player coming in last isn't the shock of the century. Also, he lost confidence after he was losing. When you lose 1, 2, or 3 games in a row, it's easy to go on a landslide, Stevie Nicks style, not Smashing Pumpkin style.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see his tweets, Joe. They made you feel bad for him.
Yeah, but I cheered him up in the tweets. Rapport looks like Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain's dead and rather pungent. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue. I tried to trade queens, but trying is the first step to failure.
I forgot about the game.
Right. Okay, I finally played g5. I got my rooks defended, my pawns defended, I got the diagonal, the bishop is dead, etc. Rook h5, takes, check. The engine likes knight e3 check a lot. It's like, could you take that? That way his bishop's gone. I have rook g4. I have the d4 square. And he's like, no, I need my bishop. It's the only piece I have. And then he finally took. f4 is good. I thought f4 was bad, but the engine says it's great. And I got my queen in there. So I sacrificed a pawn, but my king is safe. It's very, very open now, so I can use my extra piece. And I have 3 threats, 1 for each of them. That's a lot of threats. So I sacked a pawn so I could get rid of all of his pieces and threaten everything. So I'm plus 7.5. Put it in h. Rook h1. h4. Yeah, now queen g4 is an excellent move. And probably I shouldn't have played h4, but that's just from a human perspective. The engine says it's fine. And I don't want him to do that. You agree. And I don't want him to do that. Okay, so I played queen check. And now the engine move is the complicated knight takes e5. And the reason is, this is actually very funny. After check, attacking everything. Right, sweetie? Mm-hmm. How do I save everything? I save everything.
Let's see.
Your first move was right, NJ Crispy, but your LOL, that added a lot. Thank you. That's from an Aaron Rodgers commercial for State Farm.
Yeah. How do you save everything?
Mm-hmm. I'm in check, and this is hanging, and this is hanging. Always.
Well, you can't really go there.
Always play King B1. Oh wait, that's not the always.
I'm sorry, I still see it.
Here, always retreat.
Oh.
That's pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so the engine wants me to do that. Now I'm not doing that because I'm afraid of queen takes e6. And the engine's like, why are you afraid of that? But okay, I'm not letting him play queen takes e6. Okay, so I play queen e4, attacking his rook, right? And then I went to touch the rook, and I was like, ow, because it was on fire. The rook is on fire. Then he played rook h2, putting it in h. And I'm like, would you like to trade queens? And it said no talking. Now it wants to play queen d6. I missed queen d1. And I was like, no, he's going to check me. So I didn't let him check me. That was funny. And then I played, after rook here, queen here, I got everything taken care of. This is defended 700 times. Queen d6 is prevented. This is defended twice. And I'm still up a piece, this time for no pawns. Then I wanted my knight on c6 and d4 and b4, so I played here finally. You'll see knight d7 to b8 in like the Slav a lot. And you'll see knight c6 to b8 to d7 in the Breyer Ruy Lopez. And if you don't like that, if that's not a variation you approve of, knight b8 to d7, you can actually play the Haagen-Dazs Ruy Lopez. Huh.
I don't know what that is.
Instead of the Breyer.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Thanks, Steve Condi.
Yay, thank you, Steve Condi.
Okay. And then wrap. Okay, now the engine went crazy because, like, I'm going to win. Like, it can't do anything. I stopped all counterplay, so it's like, all right, let's make it hard for Ben. Okay, that's the engine move. They can't pin my knight because, yeah, now it's just playing crazy. Traded queens. And there was a funny line that I looked at, which I talked about during the thing. When I play queen d4, now here's a question. This is all I ever thought about during every game. What move am I afraid of? What move would white play that would concern you?
In this position?
Yeah, and notice his queen's hanging. So if he does this, I'm not concerned. I'm ebullient and ebullient and effusive. Thanks, Ryan C.
Well, that F5 pawn is a little...
No, but the queen's hanging.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So what move...
So I guess it has to be a queen move.
Right. What queen move scares you? Like, oh, no. Then you start crying. When I started playing Komodo, I was crying like a pussy.
Queen,
yeah.
Queen G8?
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know I wasn't afraid of that? Because I saw forced mate for me. And when I saw forced mate for me, I was less afraid of that. Okay, so I can go check, and it has one legal move.
Rook A2.
And then I go check, and it has one legal move.
Let's see. One legal move. I don't see a way to take the knight.
This way. But the pawns are going that way.
I got confused from it, yeah.
Now I have mate in one. What's funny about this mate in one is it doesn't matter which way the pawns are going.
Queen C3?
Mate, yeah.
So,
So I wasn't worried about Queen G8 because I made it.
So you mentioned like earlier in the game that that there was a slight difference in the opening. So do you think that's because they made a change, or it's just?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Some randomness.
Yeah. I think they made a change. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so now it's just silly. So I think all the moves are so bad that it just makes a random legal move. It's like that's plus 50 for him, that's plus 50 for him, and just like, all right, here's a legal move. Like the moves don't make any sense now because it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah.
I'm paying attention, Bertram. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'll pay better.
And then Komodo knew my name was the Lord when I laid my vengeance upon it. Now let me ask you a serious question in the chat. When this game started, if you were watching live or you're just seeing it for the first time, did you expect in the final position I would be up 2 queens, a rook, and a knight? Is that what you expected? The answer is fries.
What is the epaulette mate?
So let's say there's a king here, and let's say there's 2 rooks here that are white, so the king can't move sideways. And let's say there's 2 pawns here. So it's like, white castled, and then put a white rook here too. So white pawn, white rook, white rook. Then anything here is mate, a rook or a queen on any of these squares. So you see how that's mate? Because the king can't go anywhere.
Right.
So that would be that.
Well, they said nice epaulette mate.
That's not no. Ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, they said I didn't do well. 3 queens is expected.
Oh, the rooks are kind of like, am I saying that right? Epaulettes.
In that scenario, the shoulder thingy, I don't know about that. By the way, this is very true. If you have chess terms like names of openings, names of tactics like skewer, if you're like, what's that called? You don't ask the grandmaster. That's the last person you ask. You ask somebody between 1900 and 2400. We don't care about that. That's stuff you guys care about. We don't know.
Well, you knew.
No, I wouldn't. This has nothing to do with that for me. Like nothing.
You knew what it was.
Yeah, of course.
You did know the term.
Yeah, but like barely. Yeah, but doesn't mean my explanation was correct.
I did predict 4-2 Zhao.
Yeah, and so.
I was correct.
And you were fortuitous when I was 3-0. You were like, uh-oh.
I thought I was wrong at that point. I thought,
yeah, right.
Oh, he's going to win all his games.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about the match, not just, like, the moves. The problem with playing a computer, that's good, which they all are now, is you can't play chess the way you normally play. So when I play you guys, right, which you'll notice, like, on Sunday when I played you, I don't care about anything. I don't care if I hang my queen. I don't care if I have no time, because I know I'm going to win, right? You guys blunder every move, and you don't even know what's going on, and you disconnect by accident, whatever. You guys are going to lose. You guys know what you're doing. You guys have lost before, and you're going to lose again, right? It's sort of like the Cowboys and the Raiders, the Lions, and the Jacksonville. They just lose. And as soon as you think, like, oh, now they won't lose, then you're wrong, right? They're going to lose.
There's my brother.
Where?
Showing up to make trouble.
Yeah, where?
Right here.
Right there. Sounds like Karen's brother. Yeah. Okay. So losers lose. That's what they do. If you don't want to be a loser, what movie should you see? It's on the wall here.
I don't know.
It's on the wall.
Just tell me.
The Hustler.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
haven't seen that.
What? Because you have to see that because he explains why Minnesota Fats is a winner and why Fast Eddie's a loser.
True Grit.
He explains it. Okay. So when you play the engine does nothing wrong ever. And if you do anything when I play you guys, occasionally I'll make a move, and by occasionally, that's like occasionally Karen texts Naroditsky. That's the kind of occasional I'm talking about.
Hey, Bowler.
So occasionally, if I make a mistake against you guys, it's less than 50-50 you'll punish me. Less than 50-50. I'll hang a knight. I'll hang a queen. I'll even say I hung my queen, but he won't see it. And then they don't see it and everybody laughs. If I play the engine, I can't do anything wrong ever. So I'm in a totally different mindset. And so when I'm 3-0, probably I'm the favorite. But if we played one game a day, maybe I would go 6-0, maybe. But playing 6 games where your opponent plays perfect every move, I mean, and I'm like an old man, so, I'm supposed to play perfect 6 games in a row? I can't play perfect 1 game in a row, but I can play good enough to win up a night. But if my opponent's playing perfect every move 6 games in a row, I might make a mistake. And according to the engines, the first 3 games I did nothing wrong. I made 1 inaccuracy in game 3, and that was it. So out of like 270 moves, I made 1 move that wasn't quite good enough. But in the other games, I was making mistakes and blunders because, I'm old. And so after you think, and you're getting all this pressure put on you. And the only thing I don't really know, I haven't played like in Vikings AA where everybody's 2,700. So I don't know what it's like to lose 3 games in a row and your next opponent's Magnus. Like, I don't know what, but that's going to happen in Vikings A. You're like, oh man, I keep losing. Who am I playing next round? Black against Magnus? So it's hard playing the engine. It's hard.